Hi, kiddos. Pastor Elizabeth here. Welcome to the Children's Moment here at Meadow Springs Presbyterian Church. Merry Christmas! I hope you had a wonderful Christmas Eve and heard the story of Jesus being born. And of course, Christmas Day has so many wonderful good things. Good family, good food, good gifts, right? Well, here in the church, we don't stop talking about the birth of Jesus after December 25th. We just keep telling the story. We love it. We celebrate it. We give thanks to God for it. And so I have a couple more stories to share with you in the next couple weeks around some things that happened about the time that Jesus was born. And today's story talks about some very important people who lived very far from where Jesus was and where Jesus's people lived. They came from the far, far east. And these people, there are three of them I want to talk about today in particular, were very important. They studied a lot. They read a lot of books. They knew a lot of stuff. And around the time that Jesus was born, they were reading in their books. They were looking up at the stars, and they were realizing that something really important was happening. And as they kept reading and reading and reading, they realized that it all meant a new king was to be born. And so they decided, these three people, to up and travel and go to see this new king. So I've got some friends here to help us tell the story. Here's one of them. Here's number 2. And here's number 3. And so these three wise people took their camels, or I don't know, maybe they traveled by other animals, but we've got a camel here, so I'm going to use it. But they traveled by camel, or they traveled over many, many roads, over many, many miles, until they finally came to this place near where Jesus lived. And they saw this star, and that's what got them there. They followed this really, really important star that kept shining so brightly. Well, when they got to the place where they were, they didn't really know where else to go. So they decided to go to the king that lived there, and that king was a man named Herod. Now, at the time, Herod was king of the Jews, Jesus's people. So they went to Herod, and they said, we're looking for the new king that's supposed to be born. Now, can you imagine what Herod felt hearing this news? He probably thought, I'm the king. What are you talking about, a new king being born? I haven't heard about any of this. Well, Herod got really curious, and so he decided to send some of his people to go take a look at all the books and find out if this was true, if a new king was really born. And sure enough, they came back and they found a place that said, yes, out of Bethlehem, a ruler was to come who would shepherd the people Israel. Again, that's Jesus's people. Well, as you can imagine, King Herod was not too happy. And in fact, what he decided to do was to send these three wise people to go find this new king. And Herod, not with good intentions, said, bring that baby to me. Well, the three wise men decided, okay, we're going to go find this king. We now know the king is in Bethlehem. So they traveled even more, many more miles, many longer distance, until they came to where Jesus was. And of course, as we remember from last week, we remember from Christmas Eve, right? Where is Jesus? Jesus is in the stable with Mary and Joseph. He's with his family in Bethlehem, right? So we've got to get there ourselves. We've got our stable, and it may have been a little bit of time yet, so Jesus may have been a little older, but let's pretend that they're still there and they're still living, and Jesus is still a really cute little one, right? Maybe there are still animals around. a cow, a sheep wandering somewhere, right? And these three wise people continue to travel and to travel and to travel until they finally get to where Jesus is. And all three of them take a look at this young child. And they're amazed. And right away they recognize this is the king we have been seeking. This is the king of all kings, the king of the whole world. And they knew that right away. And as they sat there before this child, they worshiped him. They knew, God somehow put on their hearts that this was someone who would save them all. Now, just like it would be a good thing, right? These three wise people happened to bring along some gifts with them for the new king. That was very, very typical. And I don't know if you can see, but they've got these little kind of gold boxes or containers, right? Yeah. Well, each one of these held something very special. The Bible tells that they held gold and frankincense and myrrh. I know these are funny words, right? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. What these really are just very precious things in that time and in that place. Spices and precious gems and metals. And they brought what was most precious to them to Jesus. And that was a very special thing. And it's something that we can even do today, right now, you and me. The most precious thing that we can bring to Jesus is ourselves. We can open up our hearts and we can offer room for Jesus to come in and to do wonderful things through us. That's the beautiful thing about Christmas, is that we get to be part of what Jesus is doing right here, right now, in our homes, in our classrooms, on the playground, on the field, wherever we are. And so the gift of Jesus just keeps on giving. I hope you continue to have the Christmas spirit and that you continue to spread joy in this time. Friends, I will see you next week. Be well, and the peace of Jesus Christ be with you.